In August of 1945, the world crossed a line it could never uncross. A single weapon dropped from the sky had the power to erase a city in seconds and forever change the meaning of war. This is the story of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, not as headlines, not as numbers, but as human events that reshaped history. By 1945, World War II had consumed much of the globe. Europe was already emerging from the ruins of conflict, but in the Pacific, the war between Japan and the Allied forces raged on. The fighting was brutal. Battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa showed just how costly a full invasion of Japan could be. Tens of thousands died on both sides, and American military planners feared that an invasion of the Japanese mainland could cost millions of lives, soldiers and civilians alike. As the war dragged on, pressure mounted to find a way to end it quickly. Behind the scenes, the United States had been working on a secret project unlike anything the world had ever seen. It was called the Manhattan Project. Thousands of scientists, engineers, and workers were brought together in total secrecy. Their mission was simple in theory, but terrifying in reality: to harness atomic energy and turn it into a weapon. In July of 1945, the first atomic bomb was successfully tested in the New Mexico desert. The explosion stunned even the scientists who helped create it. The United States now possessed a weapon capable of unimaginable destruction. The question was no longer if it could be used, but whether it should be. On the morning of August 6, 1945, the Japanese city of Hiroshima woke up like any other day. It was a working city, a civilian city, home to families, children, elderly people, and workers heading into their daily routines. At 8:15 a.m., an American B-29 bomber called the Enola Gay dropped a single bomb nicknamed Little Boy. Less than a minute later, Hiroshima disappeared. A blinding flash lit the sky. Temperatures reached levels hotter than the surface of the sun. Buildings collapsed instantly. Human beings near the center of the blast were vaporized. In seconds, tens of thousands were dead. By the end of the day, the city was a landscape of fire, ash, and silence. Those who survived faced horrors that words could barely describe. People wandered through the ruins with severe burns, their skin hanging from their bodies. Hospitals had been destroyed. Doctors and nurses were dead or injured. Clean water was scarce. Radiation sickness set in slowly and cruelly. Hair fell out. Wounds would not heal. Many who survived the explosion would die weeks or months later. Survivors became known as hibakusha, people affected by the bomb. Their suffering did not end when the fires went out. Despite the devastation, Japan did not immediately surrender. 3 days later, on August 9, 1945, the United States dropped a second atomic bomb, this time on the city of Nagasaki. The bomb, called Fat Man, was more powerful than the first. Cloud cover caused the bomb to miss its primary target, and Nagasaki's hills reduced some of the damage. But the destruction was still catastrophic. Once again, civilians paid the price. Thousands were killed instantly. Entire neighborhoods vanished. Survivors faced the same long-term suffering seen in Hiroshima. Within days, Japan stood at the edge of complete collapse. On August 15, 1945, Emperor Hirohito addressed the Japanese people in a historic radio broadcast. Japan surrendered. World War II was over. For many around the world, the bombings were seen as the action that ended the war and prevented further bloodshed. For others, they represented an unprecedented attack on civilian populations. The debate began immediately, and it has never truly ended. Supporters argue the bombings saved lives by avoiding a prolonged invasion. Critics argue that no military goal can justify such mass civilian suffering. There are no easy answers. What is certain is that Hiroshima and Nagasaki marked the beginning of the nuclear age. After 1945, the world changed. Nations raced to build their own nuclear weapons. The Cold War was shaped by fear of total annihilation. For the first time in history, humanity possessed the power to destroy itself completely. And at the center of that reality are two cities in Japan, forever tied to that moment in August. Hiroshima and Nagasaki are not just historical events. They are warnings. They remind us that technological power without restraint can lead to irreversible consequences, and that the cost of war is often paid by those with no voice in the decision. The atomic bombs ended a war, but they also left scars that will never fade. If you found this documentary meaningful, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Was the use of atomic bombs justified, or did it cross a moral line humanity should never cross again? In our next video, we explore another moment in